The human species is like no other. Our capacity to reason allows us to construct a world around, and not just a physical world, with houses, pavements, and skyscrapers, but the abstract world, the psyche world, where symbolism comes to life, where language and actions are given significance to, and are as palpable as any of the material objects we create. Our ability to live together in grand societies with a common system of reference, including culture, tradition, values, and norms, allows us to communicate, work together, and understand each other. Undoubtedly, some individuals have completely reshaped society, dating as far back as Aristotle or as recent as Mark Zuckerberg. But what sets these reformers, or societal pioneers, apart? Simply, the key feature of these societal pioneers is that they have added a new value to society that either builds upon already set values or completely realigns them. The new value may come in many forms. In its simplified version, it can be an original idea, pre-existing yet newly invigorated ideas, or the manifestation of ideas, such as technological inventions. But the core power of these individuals' ideas arises from their ability to target a conflict in society and provide a solution. The solution, if well diffused or made public and a majority of people can identify with and integrate it into their lives, then becomes a value itself within and added to that society. Although this is an overly simplified account of imitation as discussed by Tard, and of the mechanism of diffusion as discussed by Everett Rogers, when these conditions are met, where an idea becomes a value, the individual can then be considered a societal pioneer. Let it stay clear that the individual, before becoming a societal pioneer, was a product of society at first. The individual was born into and encultured in some society. As a result, the values retained by that individual are either assimilations or rejections of the norms of that particular society. In any case, the personality of that individual has been shaped by the experiences in that very society. Yet what distinguishes these individuals from the rest is that they retain and strengthen their individuality. Let's take an important individual from our past, a societal pioneer, Charles Darwin. As a kid, he struggled in school, failing to pay attention in class as he watched the outside world through the window. Yet that was his idiosyncrasy, his individuality, his love for observing nature. Keeping and strengthening that skill of his allowed him to later formulate his theory of natural selection. Charles Darwin proposed a theory of natural selection as the driving force of evolution, that all life forms are related, a simple yet profound idea. With his evidence, the scientific community first integrated it, then other scholar institutions, and before you know it, it's even taught in schools. His idea added a new value, specifically a realigning one, to societies that broke away from the traditional ontological perspective of our image based on that of gods. In Charles Darwin proposing his idea, and in society integrating a new value, Darwin, at that moment, could be regarded to be outside the bounds of his society's ideologies, for this new value was not imposed upon him, rather, he added it. One notes that many societal pioneers have a charismatic element to them. This charisma is unique to the individuals in their appearance, rhetoric, and/or writing. Max Weber, a prominent sociologist, claims that one of the three types of legitimate authority is charismatic authority, where he defines charisma as, quote, the quality of an individual personality by virtue of which he is set apart from ordinary men and treated as endowed with supernatural, superhuman, or at least specifically exceptional powers or qualities, end quote. Darwin himself was praised in a godlike manner from those who accepted his theory, but also as a beast from those who rejected it, mostly the church. Yet one may challenge, are these ideas new and original, or are they just products of society with no individual ingenuity? Can't these individuals simply be regarded as sheer products of society? Can we really call these individuals pioneers? This reductionism loses grounds as we contemplate the complexity of influential individuals and their relation to society. By our definition, these societal pioneers have added a new value to society. This new value is constituted as an idea in which a significant portion of society has integrated into their lives. Granted, the ideas an individual promotes may not be original, but that is not to our concern. Rather, we are measuring the individual's effectiveness to promote them and people's perceptiveness to implement them into their lives. As currently described, a societal pioneer may appear as a well-meaning or positive individual, but we are not evaluating intentions. just the actions and effects of the individual towards society. The society pioneer should be viewed as a neutral term to describe an individual who's had a monumental effect on society. To illustrate, let's take an infamous economic theorist, Karl Marx, who envisioned a society that self-provides by the working class, may have had the best of intentions. Indeed, the idea of a self-sustainable community where everything is shared is beautiful. Yet his published work, The Communist Manifesto, inspired countless corrupt governments accountable for the deaths of millions. The Castro regime in Cuba continues suppressing individual liberty, incarcerating on whim, and failing to provide subsistence to its people. Yet one of the most notorious and gruesome regimes, of course, was Stalin's dictatorship, allegedly based on communist ideals as well. In Stalin's reign, it is estimated that roughly 15 million people died due to famine, gulag camps, massacre, etc. A slap in the face to Marx, who avidly believed that if one changes the economic system, human nature changes with it as well. Case in point, many of the greatest reformers do not carry forth original ideas. Martin Luther King Jr. was not the first to call on the idea of equality to all, but his rhetoric, his charisma, allowed him to further instill the values of equality in a greater portion of society. Even his method of promoting the ideas was not original. Civil disobedience had been used before as a passive procedure to spur change by Gandhi, and talked about extensively by Henry David Thoreau. Yet what was original was Martin Luther King's presentation of these ideas, which turned out to be quite effective in promoting equality and desegregation. Society itself, as a totality, may not have been ready for these ideas of complete equality, as it still had de facto and de jure policies towards inequality. But Martin Luther King, along with many other influential figures such as Malcolm X and Rosa Parks, made it their mission that society assimilate these notions of equality. So the question is not if society is ready for the ideas of the individual, but rather, is the individual ready to promote and contest society with these ideas?